This meeting to order. It is 9 o'clock, August 2nd, 2017. I'm Megan Lally, the chair of the EQC. This meeting is being held in room 1699 of the Hirschler Building, 122 West 25th Street, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Present today from the council are Tim Flitner, Rich Fairservice, myself, Dave Bagley, and Nick Agopian. Also present for the council are Jim Ruby, Executive Officer, and Joe Girardin, Council Business Coordinator, and Ryan Shellhouse from the Attorney General's Office. The first order of business this morning is the public hearing for docket 17-4101, Rules for the Uranium Recovery Program, Chapters 1 through 10. I will turn the gavel over to Dr. Bagley to preside in this matter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. It's 9 a.m., August 2nd, 2017. I am Dr. David Bagley, the hearing officer in docket 17-4101. This hearing is being held in room 1699 of the Hirschler Building, 122 West 25th Street, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Joining me today from the council are Rich Fairservice, Tim Flitner, Megan Lally, Nick Agopian, and Deb Bomber. If the DEQ members of the DEQ team are ready, would they please come forward and introduce yourselves and then give your opening presentations.
Good morning. I'm Kelly Shaw, Assistant Attorney General representing the Uranium Recovery Program today.
Madam Chair, Committee, I'm Ryan Sharman. I'm the Uranium Recovery Program Manager. We're presenting the rules here today and giving the presentation. That's where Madam Chair, Council, Craig Holtz, I'm with the Land Quality Division, and I assist with the administrative processes of getting rules through the rules process.
Great, thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Council. So last time we met at the last EQC meeting, we went through the rules and the individual changes and the purposes and intents of each of the rules. It's not our intent to go back through those chapters again this time. I think everybody would appreciate that. If you need me to, I will, and I'd be glad to do so. But what I want to focus on today is the comments that we needed to resolve from the last meeting. As you recall, there was some outstanding items with our federal partner, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and we needed to resolve a few items, and we're coming back to report on the resolution that we achieved with them. As we did so, what was agreed upon was to release the rules back out for public comment for another 45 days. In that comment period, we did receive resolution from the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission on a letter dated July 18th, 2017, and we also received additional public comment from the Wyoming Association of Professional Archaeologists. So for today's presentation, we just wanted to talk about how we responded to those comments. And since we don't have, we're projecting, you should have a packet, and I'll just kind of direct you to where, what we'll be discussing. So the second page, at least in my packet, it's going to be the comments from the Wyoming Association of Professional Archaeologists. And I can demonstrate it how it looks like this in your packets. In this, they acknowledged our response to them. We had provided a response last EQC, and they thanked us for our response, but then they also asked us to, as it pertained to uranium recovery licensing, that we would, they recommended that we would consult the State Historical Preservation Office on all of our projects as we assumed regulatory authority. In our response to them, you'll find that in the pack that we provided as well. We do recognize that SHPO does have quite a bit of expertise and authority. And in our response, we said we will continue to work with SHPO as our rules and regulations dictate, and statutes that govern our processes, that outline how we coordinate with them. So that's how we responded to that comment. The next one was from the NRC, and their letter dated July 18th, 2017. And the discussion, that just to bring everyone back to the same page, had to deal with general licensing and how the state went forward with general licensing. And the best way to kind of bring everyone to the same understanding on this, or to what this actually entails, I think the best example of a general license that the NRC uses to date would be everyone has smoke detectors in their homes. In those smoke detectors, there's a nuclear source in those smoke detectors. You don't have each individual resident does not have an individual license from the NRC to own a smoke detector. What happens is the manufacturer has a license to put those in there, but then they're covered under a general license under NRC. So the question that came up was, with our authority and our limited agreement, how would that pertain to general licenses? One of the concerns was we did not want to create a dual regulatory scheme at independent laboratories, commercial laboratories that may do work for some of our regulated community, in the fact that we would be regulating some of the materials such as 11E2 byproduct material that they have at these laboratories, or the limited source material that they have at these laboratories. So what the conclusion was the state would assume regulatory authority over the facilities of our limited scope agreement, and that general licensing we would not have authority over, that would retain with the NRC. And we were favorable with that decision, and it's outlined in this July 18th letter. What that resulted in for our presentation today was there was two changes. And if you go to, I'm sorry here, there was a response to the NRC that we provided to you. What the changes were was that our chapter 10 that had to deal with general licensing, that those requirements within chapter 10 would be removed. So in essence, the whole chapter 10 that we had and proposed last time is now therefore stricken. The other change that we would have is, as you go to chapter 1, section 3, and it says, except as otherwise, and I'm going to read this because we'll just read through it. It should be pretty short. It says, except as otherwise specifically provided, these rules apply to all persons who receive, possess, use, offer, and receive for transfer, own, or acquire any byproduct material or source material involved in the extraction or concentration of uranium or thorium and source material and ores at uranium or thorium milling facilities, and the management and disposal of the associated byproduct material. Nothing in these rules shall apply to any person to the extent such person is subject to regulations not relinquished by the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission. These rules do not govern the mining or removal of source material in its natural state or independent or commercial laboratory facilities that possess, use, or accept byproduct material or source material. And as part of this change, there was a sentence that was added on to this as well to meet that general license definition. And it was more to clarify what the commercial laboratory meant. It says these rules apply to laboratories located at facilities licensed under these regulations. So that is the change to address the general license concern that was raised at the last meeting. With that being said, these rules have been through the NRC review process. With the changes we're proposing from the last EQC meeting, plus the changes that were presented to you at the last EQC meeting, these rules have been found to be adequate and compatible with the NRC. So at this point, what I think I'll do is leave it open for questions from the council, and also recommend at this point that they're presented in a fashion that are able to be voted on and recommended from the council.
Thank you. Any questions from council members?
I have one question. With the new proposed change in section 3, does that mean it has to go back to the NRC, or will they accept that as is?
Madam Chair, that was language that was present. This was our concern too. We want to limit this back and forth. That is language that has been given to us by NRC that says if you put this language into your rules, it will satisfy our concerns.
Okay, well, I just
so yeah, I agree.
Back in the same situation.
Yeah, and so we were very careful in that, and we said we need to have language from you, and that's why we pushed for the letter that outlined taking these steps will resolve those concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from council? I have just one comment to prove I actually looked at these rules. If you go to page 20 of your revised rules, table 1, and look at the title of the third column. It says absorbed does, D-O-E-S. I think that should be absorbed dose.
It is. That is a typo.
So,
Thank you.
but that was the only,
Thank you so much. No.
the only thing I saw, so. All right. Well, thank you. If there's no more questions from the council, then we'll move on to the public part of this. Is there anyone present who wishes to testify in opposition of the rule package? Seeing none. Is there anyone present who wishes to testify in support of the rule package? Seeing none. Is there anyone present who wishes to testify in a neutral capacity? I have to give it a couple seconds in case someone out there, runs in the door and says, yes, yes. Seeing none, does the DEQ have any closing statements?
Madam Chair and Council, we just are thankful for your time and patience with us through this process. We know we've extended the public comment period numerous times as we've worked with our federal partners, and we're just grateful for your patience as we've walked through this process.
All right, thank you. So that will conclude the public hearing in this matter. Do I have a motion to approve the statement of principal reasons and chapters 1 through 9 of the Uranium Recovery Program?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay. I just wanted to thank you for working through this, and we definitely appreciate the challenges when you've got to work when the NRC is providing comments and they come in later than we would have hoped and everything else. But I think you've done a great job of sorting through all that. I think having another chance for the public to comment is always a good idea. So that was worth the effort. So I think we're in a good spot.
Thank you.
So I'll call the vote. Chairperson Gopian.
Chairperson.
I'm sorry.
Promoted.
That's what I meant. Council member Gopian.
Aye.
Thank you. Council member Ballmer.
Aye.
Chairperson Lawley.
Aye.
Council member Fair Service.
Yes.
Council member Flitner.
Yes.
I vote aye as well. So I've been doing these hearings too many hearings, but so it has been passed. Thank you, and I return the gavel to Chairperson Lawley.
Thank you, Dr. Bagley. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 24th, 2017?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. That concludes the items on the agenda. I would accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you guys for 15 minutes.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys.
So. I should have said 15.